All right, we are live. Barstool Units, episode 37, the week of October 5th. I'm Coach Doug's. With me, as always, the venerable Frank the Tank. Frank, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing better than the Yankees right now.
It's too soon, Frank. Too soon. We have a lot of Yankees friends. It was not a good showing.
It is high! It is far! Oh, this ball's heading for the moon! Oh, it's going to land on Venus! Stantonian with the biggest, longest home run that's ever been hit! Never mind.
What was the final score? 6-1?
6-2.
6-2. So,
yeah, Stanton finally hit a home run in the ninth.
Yeah. Mike,
but
right?
But it was too much, too little, too late.
Yeah. So Yankees lose. Yankees lose. Red Sox advance. Now, Frank, how do you feel? I mean, your Mets weren't in it at all. So do you feel is it still the Yankees? It's still like, hey, I can still talk smack to them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because the Yankees have not even been to a World Series since 2009. This is the longest Yankee drought in a long time. I mean, the Yankees, the 2010s were the first time in 100 years where the Yankees didn't even make a World Series.
Like in a decade.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
They've been to every World Series in every decade except the 2010s since the 1920s.
It's unfortunate. I thought they were going to pull it out. They had Bronxy. They had that turtle. I think he might have just had too much champagne the other night.
Let's put it this way: the Yankees are the team that if they suck, everything always ends up going right for them. They have that short porch in right field where they get a lot of cheapy home runs. But you know what? Their pitching kind of sucks. They actually spend money, but for the money they spend, they don't get any bang for their buck.
Yeah.
They get players like Gary Sanchez who really do not give a fuck. Gleyber Torres isn't that good. I mean, these are guys they thought were going to be big stars, but it just didn't happen. They didn't. They were good, and then they just kind of faltered. So it's not been where they expected it to be, and
Yankees lose.
John Sterling is just the worst.
It's unfortunate. Well, speaking of the worst, great news for Frank the Tank and probably all Mets fans everywhere. Luis Rojas will no longer be the manager of the New York Mets. Luis Rojas is out with the Mets.
Yeah, he's disappointed. He was hoping to have their participation trophy ceremony for the participation trophies today.
Hey, they did play a full season.
He wants to take down all the championship banners and put up participant banners.
Just a banner for every year?
Yeah.
Well, Frank, you're no longer going to have to worry about that. Rojas is out. Cohen tweeted about it. You had a pretty good reaction on the rundown yesterday. And, you said on the show that if Rojas is out, you're going to give Cohen a little bit of a leash. You're going to let him go. Word on the street, and by street I mean on the Twitters, is that you have pretty much promised to not complain about the Mets until Memorial Day. Is that right?
About the Mets manager.
All right. So, so everything else about the Mets is fair game, but you will not talk about Mets management until Memorial Day.
Well, I got to now see what they do in the offseason. I want them to spend money. If they don't spend money, then I'm going to rip them for not spending money.
That's fair. That's fair. But as far as management goes, as far as who the manager is, now are there certain managers that they can bring in where that's gonna void out your promise, or are you gonna
give Brad Ausmus?
So if they hire him, you're like, I'm out. I'm
pissed. I'll be pissed.
Contract. All right.
Yeah, so Brad Ausmus sucks.
Anybody besides him, you're sticking to Memorial Day.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Ausmus really fucking sucks.
But anybody besides him, you're going to stay till Memorial Day. You won't say anything about management.
Right.
All right. That's it. All right, we're clear on that. I just want to make sure because there's a lot of people counting on us to keep. I gotta keep you fair on that. So Memorial Day. Now, why Memorial Day? Is that just an arbitrary day you picked?
That's pretty much right when that's when you start to have an idea in baseball.
Okay. All right. So
It's
Memorial
it's almost like the quarter point or just past the quarter point of the season.
Day. Okay. Gotcha. So you're pretty much getting an understanding of the team to where you know what
Yes.
direction they're headed.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. So Yankees lose, Rojas out. Frank, I mean, it sounds like you're having a pretty good sports week. Notre Dame. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Notre Dame. I tell you what, I think Cincinnati's good.
Yeah, Cincinnati's good.
You can't be that upset for losing to Cincinnati. They look pretty good.
What has to happen now is they had the Notre Dame has to basically
They have to
just
win out.
ride with Drew Prime.
Yeah.
Just ride Drew Prime. You know, it's time just to give Drew Prime a try. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah. Just get him in there and keep him in there.
Yeah, bring in Drew Pine.
Yeah. Well, they might. There's probably a good chance that happens. Well, so Notre Dame, their first loss.
I mean, it's time to ride Drew Pine and have Jack Cohn ride the Pines.
There you go. We'll get shirts. I'm sure Notre Dame fans would love to buy that shirt. So Notre Dame for first loss. How was you had a little bit of a reaction after the Dolphins loss?
They suck. They fucked everything up. They did not get a hit on a single draft pick.
Yeah.
Everyone they have picked sucks.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate, Frank. How is your coach doing? Has he I don't know. Has he been in the news lately? How's the Miami Dolphins?
Nope.
He's doing all right?
Yeah, he's trying to grind out and find a way to win. Well, certain coaches are trying just to do the bump and grind.
There you go. I was waiting. I was opening it up for you. I was waiting for it to come around. I'm glad we finally made that switch there. Yeah, Urban Meyer. It's been in the news for a few days now. The first angle.
Now, can I ask a question? How can these players act so outraged?
Well, exactly. We're going to get into all this, Frank. So the first video, it's pretty much, he's at a bar. Some big booty blonde is grinding up on him. And it's like, whatever. His hand may have been in an unfortunate place. But it's whatever. The second video came out and he had two fingers somewhere he shouldn't have. But yeah, the audacity of the Jacksonville reporter who asked him, because in the press conference, he's talking about, once he got back to Jacksonville, he's talking about how he basically apologized to his team for being a distraction. I'm sorry that this caused a distraction. I don't think he apologized for what he did, which I'm happy with. He doesn't need to. He's a grown man. He doesn't need to apologize for what he's doing in a bar with another grown person. Now he might need to have that discussion with his wife, but it's not on a reporter to ask him if he apologized to his family. Do you feel the need to apologize to your family? It's like, whose business? Like it's none of your business, And we might not even know how his wife feels about this. His wife might, be okay with it. I don't know. We're putting our morals on them when we say, he should be ashamed of himself and all this stuff. I don't know. The problem is that he's 0-4. When you're 0-4, you can't do stuff like this. If he was 4-0, if the Jags were 4-0, this would have been a celebratory video of look at Urban Meyer. Hey, his wife's probably not going to be happy about that, but Urban Meyer is getting danced on at a club. When you're 0-4, it's, oh my goodness, there's a morality clause in his contract. The Jaguars may need to get rid of him. It's like, and everyone's talking about how, he might quit or he purposely did it in order to go to USC. Do we even know if USC wants him?
Oh no, he's a rock star. That UC does. Yeah, USC has no
Would
scruples.
they? I mean, would a college, especially US? How many head coaches has USC had since Lane Kiffin?
A whole bunch of them.
I mean, do they? Is that really the direction they want to go into? Is, hey, this former college head coach who has now left 3 programs for certain health reasons or moral reasons, we're going to bring him out to Los Angeles?
Yeah,
Listen,
well,
if he can't dance with that blonde in Cincinnati or wherever they were, I don't think he's going to do very well in Los Angeles. Frank, the problem was he was 0-4 when he did that.
yeah.
You can't do that when you're 0-4. There is a scale, like number of wins and your behavior, like what you can get away with. The more wins you have, the more stuff you can get away with. If you go undefeated, you can do whatever you want. You can't be 0-4 and do that, especially not at your own restaurant. But other than that, I don't care. I think I've said it on this show many times before. I don't care. Just win. Like as long as he's not out there doing something that is reprehensible, that is against someone else's will. If he was being a pervert out there or something, or if she didn't want him approaching him.
I've heard some things that actually make sense. That the worst thing is that the team flew back to Jacksonville. He stayed behind.
I understand that might be a rare occasion, or that might not happen, but this is not just a random Sunday. It was a Thursday night game. His kids and his grandkids are still in Ohio. So it's not, I mean, listen, I get it. You want the coach who's 0, again, it all comes down to because he's 0-4. If he was 4-0 and he stayed behind to see his kids and grandkids in Ohio, nobody would have said anything. But because he's 0-4, they say, oh, well, that's he shouldn't have done that.
Does he make it to London next week?
Yes. The idea that Shad Khan is putting out, first of all, and I loved your joke. I want to throw it out there. So the Jaguars put out this, statement from Shad Khan about, the morality of Jacksonville and everything, and Urban Meyer has to prove his morals to everyone who's part of the organization. The font they used bothered me more. The font they used for that statement bothered me more than what Urban Meyer did. The font was a ridiculous font. You came over the top with it should have been Times New Roman, which I got, and I think a lot of other people did too. I think a lot of people didn't get it. I might be giving you too much credit here, but that was a USC joke, right?
Not really, but I guess it kind of fits.
Oh man, Frank, I was giving you way too much credit. I
was either going to use Times New Roman or Comic Sans.
I thought it was going to be Times New Roman because of obviously it's not obviously Spartan and everything. I thought you were going in that direction. Now I'm gonna have to delete that retweet. Well, yeah. So like I said, I do not.
What has happened is it's clearly the Jaguars have hired the wrong guy.
Well, and think about this. I'm in a position right now where I didn't want him to be hired in the first place. Now it comes across as if I'm defending him. If they get rid of him because he's 0-4, I think that's premature. But at the same time, it's not my team. It's whatever. And it's obviously an indication that they have come to and they realize he wasn't the right fit. But if they fire him because he was getting danced on by a girl in Ohio, that's stupid. And I think you're putting yourself on a pedestal saying our morals are at a certain point. How are you going to get free agents to come to Jacksonville to play for the Jaguars? If you say, hey, we want you to play here, but if we find out you have a side piece, if we find out that there's, you're dancing at the club with a girl who's not your girlfriend, we're going to terminate your contract for morality reasons.
What I don't get is how these players are saying, oh, he has to earn our trust back. Who's actually saying that?
No one. I from what I've read, a couple of reporters have apparently talked to one or two players. Which how many players are there? 52.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, apparently one or two players, laughed about it and were upset that he canceled the team meeting. And it's like, but then they laughed about it. It's like, if the way you handle that situation is Urban Meyer comes in and says, like he did, I apologize that this has been a distraction. We will now move on from this distraction. And you move on. The idea that he's coming in there and groveling to NFL players, grown men who are getting paid millions of dollars to play football, that he's groveling, begging for forgiveness for infidelity possibilities, like, get out of here.
How many of these football players are probably cheating on their wives? How many of these football players are going out and doing the same thing?
Going out to strip clubs, going out to bars, talking to women, being provocative, being,
the Gold Club in Atlanta. I mean, come on.
There's a Gold Club in Jacksonville. Now they probably make a little bit too much money to go to that club, but yes, it's so the idea that he would have to come in groveling to the players and say, "Please forgive me. Let's please move on." And
I mean, we're talking about NFL football players. We're not talking about these like
we're not talking about a church league softball team.
No, Tim Tebow's not in that locker room.
He's not. Now, other people did bring up other situations where he's, Urban Meyer has hired some people that are very questionable, that it should not have been hired. He gave Tim Tebow a chance, which, a lot of people say he shouldn't have even given him a chance. So he's done other things. But again, the idea, here's the issue. You have Jacksonville reporters who are like, hey, we have a chance to report on national news now. And so we're going to ask them all these questions where if it was anybody else, I don't think it would be an issue, or at least not this big of an issue. But then you have it's an NFL story. It's a college football story. It's obviously it's a family story, I guess. It's not just a football story. But then it also it's the perfect storm of everything that's been going on. Again, his real mistake was that he did this when he was 0-4. If he was 4-0 and this happened, people would have been joking about it. People would have been laughing about it. It would have been a ha-ha story. Did you see somebody got video of Urban Meyer dancing with some blonde in Ohio? That's it. That was his mistake. Urban Meyer's mistake was that he did this while he was 0-4. And maybe he should be fired for that. Maybe maybe that is, hey, if you're 0-4, you shouldn't be out at a bar. I don't care if you're visiting your grandkids or whatever. You should be in Jacksonville putting up a game plan for the Tennessee Titans. Here's the thing. If he loses to the Titans and he goes 0-5, then it's more on top of it. It's like, can he win in the NFL? Because the Titans just lost to the Jets. The Titans do not look good at all. But if he goes out and beats the Titans, then we can say, hey, he can win in the NFL. This story, gets moved on and passed over. We'll see. I hate that it sounds like I'm defending him when I'm not defending Urban Meyer as a coach. I'm defending a person against these.
Well, if they lose this week, it'll be 20 straight losses.
Say what?
If they lose this week, it'll be 20 straight losses.
Yeah. Is that an NFL record?
No.
Is it? It's close to an NFL record for most consecutive losses, right?
No, the most consecutive record is 26.
26. Who was that?
Yeah. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost their first 26 games.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, so Seattle beat them their first year.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, in fact, the 1976 Buccaneers might be the worst football team of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, they were incredibly bad.
I remember watching a documentary where somebody because they played each other that first year, and it said at least one of us will win today because neither Seattle nor Tampa Bay had won a game when they played. And that's
if you ever look at the scores of that Tampa Bay team with Steve Spurrier as quarterback, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, and then they lost it was a 14-game season, and then they lost their first 12 games in 77. That's when, by the way, their coach was asked about the execution of his team,
and he
said he was all for it.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers actually were shut out in each of their first 2 games by a combined score of 43-0. Now, the Buccaneers and Seahawks did something interesting. In the first year, the Buccaneers played in the AFC, and the Seahawks played in the NFC. And then they switched the next year, and they only played the other teams in the conference.
Yeah.
So all 13 games at the and they played each other too.
Yeah.
That was like the only cross-conference game. So it was like they basically played every team once in the first 2 years. And they played each other twice. Home and home.
Yeah.
And the Buccaneers in 76. Let me see if I can find the total points scored and point differential. Here it is. The Buccaneers scored 125 points in 14 games and allowed 412.
It's not good.
They were shut out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in 76.
Yeah.
They only had they had very few games that were like even close. It was just like they lost 20-0, 23-0, 42-17, 21-0, 48-13, 34-0, 24-7, 49-16, 42-0, and 31-14.
So none of the games were even close.
Yeah, they had like they gave a scare to the Dolphins, losing 23-20. The game against the Seahawks was 13-10, and the Bills was 14-9.
Okay.
Those are the only 3 close games they played all year.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I hope that Jacksonville does not beat that record. I think.
Well, they got Dolphins in London.
Yeah.
And here's the losing streak continuing on to the next year. They got shut out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in that 26-game losing streak, they were shut out 11 times.
Wow.
There's no doubt. It's not even close. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 76 and 77 is the worst team of all time. Yeah. And when they finally won, they went into New Orleans, beat the Saints. They got greeted by the fans at the airport. The next week, they beat the St. Louis Cardinals and finished 2-12 in 77. At the end of the season, the Saints and Cardinals both fired their coaches.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's transitive property rights or what that. Hey, listen, if you're losing to the team, if your only win are or if your losses are the only wins of the other team, I can see that happening.
Now, here's some hope though.
Do that.
Do you realize that the Buccaneers in 1979, just 2 years after this 26-game losing streak, started 5-0 and went to the NFC Championship game?
I don't doubt that at all. I mean, look at how the Jaguars started. I think we went 4-12 in 95. We made the playoffs in 96, went to the AFC Championship game in 97. We won the Central Division in 98, 99. I mean, after a 4-12 start, well, I mean, and it might not be a great thing for me as a Jaguar fan now growing up, because it's like the first 5 years, or at least 5 of like the first 6 years that the Jaguars played, and I was young, we were going to the playoffs like every year, even if it was a wild card game. And then there was about 20 years in between. That was when we won the division, the Southern Division, in 2017. They pulled up the banner, and it was so disappointing because we had 98-99 Central Division champion pennants, and then the next one was 2017.
Well, 99 was the year they should have went to the Super Bowl. I still feel that way. They just couldn't beat the damn Titans.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can beat the Titans upcoming. They're coming to Jacksonville. I want to say the Jaguars are favored by like 6.5 or 7.5 points. Actually, no, I think the Titans might be favored 7.5 points.
Yeah, there's no way they're making the Titans are banged up. That's the best thing you have going for it.
I mean, they just lost. They just lost to the Jets.
Yeah, well, they have a lot of injuries. That's their receiving
Yeah.
core is basically
Well,
decimated.
but they're 1-3 right now, right?
No, 2-2.
Oh, they're 2-2. I thought they were 1-3. All right.
No.
So we'll see if the Jaguars can do anything. Like I said, I didn't agree with the hire to begin with. My concern was he was gonna struggle in the NFL, which he obviously has, and that he was gonna take off if he couldn't win.
And it looks like he wants to. And
And so I don't know. But if it has to happen, let it happen now. I don't want if Shad Khan comes through like in 4 weeks, and like if we're 0-8, and Shad Khan comes through and says, "Hey, we've thought about more about that, the dancing in Ohio, and we can't have that here." Like, no, listen, if you're going to fire him because he's a bad coach or he can't win, go ahead and get it out of the way. Let's start the process. Let's find a new coach. Let's find possibly a new GM next year, and just start the process.
I mean, look at the situation the Dolphins are in. They fucked up everything. I mean, they have no offensive line. Jalen Waddle sucks. They traded up to get him. They traded down and then traded up, and then they lost their draft pick. Now what's probably going to end up being like a top 5 pick going to the Eagles, and we get the 49ers pick, which will probably be like number 26.
Yeah, that's unfortunate when you trade away your first round pick and you still suck, because that means that pick has a lot of value.
I mean, Tua is basically glass, is made of glass. Jacoby Brissett looks like he's got a piano on his back.
Maybe you can help me out with this, because I was trying to like pull the research, do the research, and pull the numbers and everything, because we talked about it last episode, where the Jaguars traded C.J. Henderson to the Panthers for a tight end. The tight end looked pretty good in Cincinnati against the Bengals, but we traded him, and he was I think we only have basically, like, since 2010, we only have like three of our first round draft picks are still on the team.
Yeah, well, it's been something like that for the Dolphins too.
Well,
and if you notice, bad teams do that.
Well, so that's what I was looking up in the AFC South. It was not that uncommon. I look back until 2010. It's not that uncommon for a first round draft pick to only play 3 or 4 or 5 years with their team and then get traded or not re-signed, go into free agency. It wasn't, I mean, I think the Titans had quite a few people that they did keep on. So maybe that's good news for the Titans, but it seemed like the other teams I were looking at, it wasn't really an uncommon practice for a first round draft pick to not be on the same team 4 or 5 years later.
No, and the Dolphins, I mean, it's almost to the point now where they're in such a fucking pickle. They might have to roll the dice and go for Watson.
Do you think that's a real possibility? Obviously they're not. I mean, they don't have the draft picks to even go after him, do they?
Well, they still have the Niners number 1.
That's just, I mean, I think it's a silly ask from the Texans. I don't think they actually expect anybody to even come close to that offer for Watson.
Yeah, well, the Texans have to come down after demand, otherwise they're going to be left holding the bag.
I mean, if the NFL suspends him, they're not going to have to worry about that.
They're not going to get anything.
Yeah, but that's, I don't know. I'm still unclear of like why it's taking, why this process is even taking so long right now. It seems like nobody's even talking about it. It's just kind of like it's going through a process, and it seems to be taking forever.
Yeah, well, he's never going to play for the Texans again. That's a fact. I mean, Davis Mills looks like he wants to go home, phone home.
Yeah. Well,
it's obviously a reference to his neck.
I didn't want to give you, and I didn't want to assume and give you any credit for that joke because times do Roman. Obviously, it's Spartan Roman, but anyway, the I feel bad for people that have been spending a lot of money on Deshaun Watson rookie cards because I know quite a few people who were saving up. He was a big quarterback. He was going to be a star, So we'll see. But I've been
Well,
opening.
if he doesn't get suspended, if he doesn't get arrested, if he doesn't go to jail, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah. Justin Fields looked good. We'll see if Matt Nagy is smart enough to keep him out there.
Matt Nagy says that when Andy Dalton's back, he's going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. But I'm opening up Donruss cards. Donruss, the 2021 cards are open. Now that I'm home, it's much easier to open up cards, in one place rather than going to the hotel. But so I've been opening up cards. I feel bad for the people that have been on the Deshaun Watson cards, but we're looking for the Trevor Lawrence autos. We still got to do our Doug's Den where we go over our Chicago picks and what we got in Chicago. I saw that the Wrigleyville hot dog review went out.
Yes, it did.
And then he died. That seemed to be a lot of people caught on to that at the end. That was
how about that Harry Carey statue?
I'm telling you, as soon as I saw it, I looked up and I'm like, oh, it's Harry Carey's statue. And then you look at his feet and you're like, why? Who did that? It looked like something out of The Haunting.
It looked demonic.
I don't know who who drew the thing, but it didn't look good. It was honestly like scary. But
well, hopefully I get a better living situation. I mean, it feels like I have less and less room every day. It feels like the walls are closing in here.
You're buying more starting lineup figures. You're running out of room.
I mean,
speaking of which, well, I've applied for multiple places in Hoboken. I'm right there with you as far as frustration. I might not say it out loud. I might not be as vocal as you are with your frustration, but like I'm on apartments.com, I'm on Zillow, I'm looking at
apartments.com's a terrible site.
They have so many places. In fact, one of the places the lady talked to me, she's like, fill out this application. I'm talking about same day. She said, fill out this application, get it back to me with a $40 application fee. So I did everything. I didn't get a response. I emailed her back the next day and said, hey, I sent all this stuff in. What's going on? And she gave me a phone call and said, oh, that unit's not actually available anymore, but we have other units around here. And I'm like, you just told me to fill out this application yesterday. Like, obviously the unit was not available when you told me to fill it out. And so that seems to be a recurring theme on apartments.com. So
yeah.
But I get it. They're a website. The more listings that are up, the more people are going to be on their site, the more ads they can sell. It's an unfortunate, same thing with Zillow. It's something unfortunate that we have to deal with, but I'm still looking for a place. It's literally, I'm ready to move. Like as soon as I find a place. But I was trying to stay in downtown Hoboken, but wherever I can get now, I'm just kind of like, I'm not desperate, but I want to be in Hoboken. And so hopefully I'll find a place, but as soon as I do, I'm up there. And
I mean, we got great things ready to go. We got Devils season starting in 10 days.
I know. We got the Adirondack Thunder. We got to go to one of the Thunder games.
We got to hit some college football games too, I think.
Absolutely. Well, and you're coming down here to Miami for the Dolphins games. I'll be at the Miami FSU game. I mean, we're going to be on the road a lot, but it would be nice to have a home base.
Yeah, I got to get ready to put up our road trip up to Boston. But the Leafs are going to get ready to change soon. You got to get up here for that.
I know. I know. Down here, we don't. It's just the Leaves don't even change down here. They might fall off, but they're still green.
I mean, today was a nice fall day.
Listen, I'm going to get up there, and when I get up there, I've made a connection through one of my friends who's a buyer for a major sports apparel company. They have connected me with an apparel guy in New York City that specializes in big and tall.
Oh,
So
that sounds good. I mean, we got to get ready to start doing these mini golf things and more of that. We got to get more content out.
I know that's hey, listen, I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm ready to go as soon as. In fact, I might just have to I might have to head up there and hit the hotel again for another week or two, just so I can
I
be.
just I just applied to a new place, and
Yeah. So well,
hopefully that comes true. If
yeah.
it's the place I mentioned, that's brandy new.
Well, we got a lot of stuff planned here. I'm breaking more sports cards. Like I said, I got the big and tall line. What do you think about this as far as the big and tall line? 4 units by units.
I think that was taken.
Okay, all right, all right. If you're not that into it, okay, we'll move on. We'll try something else. But yeah,
Well,
so I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah.
but I like where you're going with that. I
Oh,
like
listen,
where you're going with it.
listen. We will have a big and tall line, and I mean, as far as I can push it, as far as I can push it, I'm making connections. I'm talking to people.
Unit life.
What about what about Barstool unit, and instead short to make it short, we'll call it B unit. That might be a reference you don't get. I don't know. I don't want to.
I don't get it.
G unit it rhymes with B. Anyway, G unit was a rap group. All right. Okay. All right. We've jumped the shark, but yeah. So we've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I got the
You got the
4
food.
units by units. I got the FUBU.
Yeah. All right. So a lot of stuff going on. Urban Meyer is still the coach of the Jaguars. The Jaguars and Dolphins are not having a great season. The Dolphins are having a better season, but a lot of stuff planned. Card
Well,
break.
whether you're here or not next Sunday, we have to try to figure out a way to watch that game.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe, oh, is it next Sunday?
Yeah.
And it was at like 9:30, right?
Yep.
All right. I might just have to, like I said, all my stuff's packed. I might just have to grab the luggage and make another drive up there. Hopefully, it's really just a matter of finding the right apartment in Hoboken. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff planned. Like I said, and the Devils games. We got to go to Devils games. I'm getting my jersey once I'm up there. A lot of stuff planned.
Opening night is the 15th.
All right. All right. We'll make it work. I might have to make one more temporary trip up there, but we're all good. A lot of stuff planned. A lot of stuff planned. Do you have anything coming out this week?
Not really.
Motor reviews. I saw you were doing you did the chicken taco review from Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And then you walked in front of the rundown. Did you notice? You know what you're doing?
Yeah, Fasoli told me to.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. You alphaed Brandon while he was doing it, but all right.
Well, yeah, we did that just to piss Brandon off.
That's fair. That's fair. You are not the first person to get pissed off at Brandon. Joey Molinaro had a quick text exchange that did not go over well, but that's all settled and under now. A lot of stuff happening. That's Barstool Units, episode 36. Frank, please take us out.
Start spreading the news. The Yankees lose. They got a manager who runs a country club. Garrett Cole misses his spider tack. And Giancarlo hits it a mile and it just hits off the wall. The Yankees are done. The season's over. They were lucky to even get this far. And there's no hope for the future with Gary Sanchez. Does not give a fuck. Yanks out of luck. Click like, subscribe.
Start spreading the news. That's Barstool Unit. See you guys next time.